TV, and everybody seen him. And Usyk was a hell of a fighter, a gold medalist, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, but he was behind the scenes. Two guys with a crazy amateur backgrounds, and one guy is not being seen, and another guy is being seen. Then we call it an upset. No, it's just that
Kozak, why? What is your name? My name is Ivan. Yeah, it's a hard punch. Yeah, Ivan.
To block, got to put Usyk under pressure, but immediately gets caught. What a fantastic jab from Usyk on the back foot. When you're right, he needs to bring his feet in the block.
Floyd Mayweather just told the world he could have beaten Oleksandr Usyk, and within minutes, the internet broke into chaos. The greatest defensive fighter in history calling out the reigning undisputed heavyweight king? It was the kind of crossover fantasy no one expected, and yet here we are, watching two legends from entirely different weight classes collide in headlines, highlight reels, and heated debates. Mayweather, 5-division world champion, 50-0, a master of movement and distance, made the claim during a press run, suggesting that had they been the same weight, he would have found a way to outbox Usyk. But Usyk? He didn't snap back. He didn't throw shade. Instead, his reaction was quiet, knowing, almost amused, as if the idea of Mayweather trading jabs with him at heavyweight wasn't something to get angry about, but something to smile at. That reaction alone sparked its own storm. TikTok was flooded with fan edits, reaction videos, and fight breakdowns. YouTube analysts were dissecting Mayweather's claim frame by frame, while Reddit boxing forums launched full-scale simulations trying to imagine how the fight would go down. And now, it's no longer just a what if. It's a cultural moment, a generational ego clash, and a legacy question all rolled into one.
Of all the fights you've had 50, who would you say was your toughest opponent?
you got guys that punch hard and hit hard, and you got guys that come out and win a few rounds, but nothing really was tough.
Floyd Mayweather has never shied away from bold claims, but this one turned heads. In a recent appearance on a media run following the Usyk vs. Fury showdown, Mayweather confidently stated that if he were in his prime, he believes he could have beaten Oleksandr Usyk. He didn't offer specifics. There was no long explanation, no tactical breakdown, just a calm, confident assertion, the kind that only someone with a 50-0 record can make without flinching. He didn't say it to disrespect Usyk. In fact, Mayweather has shown admiration for Usyk in the past, calling him a hell of a fighter and praising his footwork and ring IQ. But when asked about hypothetical matchups, Mayweather stuck to his brand. In his mind, no one outboxes Floyd Mayweather, not even the slickest, smartest heavyweight in the world. The reaction was instant. Within hours, fight fans swarmed TikTok and Twitter with clips, voiceovers, and mock simulations. Some fans laughed off the idea, calling it delusional. Others dug deeper, arguing that Mayweather's defensive style, timing, and ring generalship might actually frustrate even a technician like Usyk, if only weight weren't a factor. And that's where the conversation caught fire. Because while Mayweather didn't say he could beat Usyk in a real-world heavyweight match, the internet heard it as a direct challenge. Countless YouTube reaction videos started comparing Mayweather's fights at 147 pounds to Usyk's performances against Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. It wasn't about realism, it was about imagination, legacy, and pride. Even in fantasy, it struck a nerve. Hardcore fans flooded Reddit threads debating punch stats, stamina, defensive layers, and psychological warfare. Floyd's statement became less about whether he could beat Usyk and more about what that claim represents. The mindset of a fighter who never saw anyone as unbeatable, no matter their size. For better or worse, Mayweather reminded the world why he's still talked about, even in retirement. He doesn't need to fight anymore to start a fight.
I'm good. I'm very good. I'm hungry.
You hungry?
Yes.
Are you telling me to be quick then, yeah? So you can eat?
While Mayweather's comments stirred up endless online debate, Oleksandr Usyk didn't meet it with hostility or even surprise. In typical Usyk fashion, his response was dry, subtle, and layered with a kind of quiet confidence that almost felt like a counterpunch without ever lifting a glove. In a short media interaction following his fight against Tyson Fury, when asked indirectly about legends like Floyd Mayweather commenting on his dominance, Usyk smiled. His exact words were not confrontational. Instead, he downplayed the idea with humor and humility, often brushing off fantasy matchups as entertainment, not strategy. He didn't directly call Mayweather out or offer a hot take. Instead, his reaction was more telling. He stayed grounded, unshaken, and unfazed. That alone spoke volumes. It's the Usyk way. He's never been loud. He doesn't posture. His replies are often cryptic or humorous, delivered with a grin or a shrug, but fans who follow him closely know that beneath that light tone is a mind that studies everything and forgets nothing. In the face of Floyd's hypothetical challenge, Usyk didn't need to say, "I destroy him." His track record said enough. Undefeated, undisputed cruiserweight champion, unified heavyweight champion, and recently, the first man to beat Tyson Fury clean in over a decade. What made the moment so compelling wasn't that Usyk ignored the claim, it was that he didn't have to prove anything in response. In an era where fighters respond to every slight with callouts and Instagram rants, Usyk remained still. No fireback, no internet war. Just a small smirk and silence, letting the boxing world argue for him. That approach hit even harder online. Fans started posting side-by-side clips. Usyk outmaneuvering Anthony Joshua's jabs, slipping Fury's lead hand, and dancing around 250-pound opponents, followed by Mayweather's highlights at 147, controlling men 80 pounds lighter. The contrast was striking. And in the absence of trash talk, Usyk looked even more formidable, more mature, more unshakable. While Mayweather's words kept the spotlight on his own unmatched legacy, Usyk's calm reaction cemented his. In boxing, sometimes the most powerful answer is no answer at all. In the wake of Mayweather's hypothetical claim, it wasn't just fans debating it. Some of boxing's most respected voices stepped in to weigh the fantasy against reality. And while most stopped short of outright dismissing Mayweather's confidence, the general consensus was clear. Usyk is a different kind of problem.
He's the kind of guy who could have lived in any era because he's a full package. He's technically solid. He's mentally solid. You know, he's got the physical gift. He's not great in one area, but he's very good in every area.
Teddy Atlas, longtime trainer and analyst, didn't mince words. While not directly commenting on Mayweather's statement, Atlas has repeatedly praised Usyk's ring IQ, footwork, and mental composure, especially in the heavyweight division. He's a chess master, Atlas said after the first Joshua fight. He makes the ring bigger when he wants it and smaller when you don't want it to be. That kind of control, Atlas argues, is rare even among elite fighters, and it becomes exponentially harder to deal with when the opponent is 220 plus pounds.
Do you think there's anybody out there that can take Usyk right now? Was anybody?
Tyson Fury. It's not an easy fight for either guy. So, you know, it looks like we're gonna have our first undisputed heavyweight champion.
Andre Ward, the undefeated former light heavyweight champion and one of the few fighters whose cerebral style has drawn comparisons to Mayweather's, took a slightly more neutral stance. Floyd's confidence is what made him great, he told Showtime after Usyk's win over Fury. But we're talking about a guy in Usyk who's dominating giants. It's apples and oranges.
Well, Usyk is a beast. Usyk is not easy for anybody to beat. But I said the guy with the best chance. The guy with the best chance to me right now is Joseph Parker.
Yeah, I think Usyk.
And I'm not saying that he's gonna beat him, but he's the guy with the best chance.
Even Roy Jones Jr., who once leaped from middleweight to heavyweight and won a title, acknowledged the size gap makes the fantasy difficult to assess. Floyd was the best at his size, Roy said in a post-fight breakdown. Usyk is one of the smartest big men we've ever seen. If they were the same weight, I don't know. But Usyk's footwork is ridiculous.
Of this era, and he does the right things. He moves well, he doesn't get hit, and he's elusive, and he's hard to beat.
Lennox, just the final one. What would be your advice to...
Interestingly, Lennox Lewis, one of the last undisputed heavyweight kings before Usyk, praised Usyk's composure and adaptability. He doesn't waste energy. He doesn't panic. That's rare, especially when a guy's getting hit, Lewis said after the Fury bout. While Lewis didn't reference Mayweather, his point stood. Usyk isn't just a technician, he's a technician under pressure, with power and endurance behind it. None of the legends directly endorsed Mayweather's claim. Most respected it as classic Floyd bravado. But beneath the respectful tones, there was a clear undertone. Size matters, and when that size is attached to someone like Usyk, even greatness meets its limit. While Floyd Mayweather's claim grabbed headlines, boxing's inner circle offered a reality check. Tony Bellew, former cruiserweight champion turned pundit, was blunt. Despite calling Mayweather a legend, Bellew made it clear that in his view, only two fighters currently have a realistic shot at beating Usyk, Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. Both have already lost to him twice, and yet Bellew insists they remain the only challengers with even the theoretical tools to trouble him. Bellew's comments gain weight coming from someone who actually shared a ring with Usyk and lived to praise his technical brilliance. He noted Fury in particular came the closest, pushing Usyk into hard-earned decisions in 2024. Joshua, he added, made it tight in their rematch up to the later rounds. That leaves Mayweather in fantasy land, no matter how skilled. Meanwhile, Lennox Lewis, who's previously praised Usyk as an analytical elite craftsman, recently suggested that fighters like Joseph Parker might present the most intriguing challenge next, given that Parker has yet to be tested at the top level in front of Usyk. And while Mayweather's hypothetical claim spins up viral debate, insiders like Carl Froch and Tony Bellew see only limited paths. They stress that size, strength, and heavyweight fight pacing create real barriers. Legend after legend echoed that Mayweather's style at 150 to 160 pounds doesn't directly translate to overcoming a disciplined southpaw heavyweight with real knockout power and elite stamina. In short, even if Mayweather says he could beat Usyk, the boxing experts, from those who fought Usyk to those who analyze his every move, aren't buying that take. They point to the reality. Usyk dismantles elite heavyweight contenders methodically, and only true big man threats repeatedly tested him. And none of those names currently share Mayweather's status or Mayweather's weight class.
Enjoyed it, and he has turned to face Fury. Fury does eventually turn to face him.
Tomorrow night,
The idea of Floyd Mayweather moving up from 150 to 160 pounds to heavyweight and handling Oleksandr Usyk sounds thrilling, but the reality exposes massive barriers. First, let's remember Mayweather spent his career from super featherweight to light middleweight, a limit of 154 pounds. Usyk, at over 225 to 230 pounds across cruiserweight and heavyweight, carries power and durability that are in entirely different territory. Mayweather never faced that kind of size disparity in his entire career. Mayweather's style, built on elite defense, shoulder roll, and precision counters, dominated smaller, well-coached opponents. But Usyk isn't average. He's the undisputed heavyweight champion who has already beaten elite opponents twice, including Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, while carrying his mobility into deep championship rounds. He dismantled Fury via split decision in May 2024 and KO'd Daniel Dubois in July 2025 to regain undisputed status. Moreover, Tony Bellew and Lennox Lewis, experts who've seen firsthand how Usyk operates, point out that only Fury or Joshua ever gave him any meaningful challenge. But neither one. Useless hypotheticals like Mayweather seem even more remote. Bellew made clear Fury gave him the most trouble, and Joshua had it close until around round 10 in their rematch, both defeats that stemmed from Usyk's superior timing and pressure. Then there's conditioning. Mayweather thrives in shorter fights, using speed and ring IQ to avoid damage and manage pace. Usyk, by contrast, sets the pace. His movement, body work, quick pivots, and southpaw angles wear down opponents over 12 rounds. Fury admitted that was one of the hardest parts, constantly moving without throwing wild punches, mentally draining the bigger man. Another layer, punch power and punch resistance. Heavyweight opponents bring weight and impact. Usyk has absorbed body shots and center field pressure from fighters like Fury and Dubois without visibly slowing. Mayweather, used to fighting below 155 pounds, has never faced that durable heavyweight resistance. In short, Mayweather's defensive brilliance and timing would still look sharp, but applying them effectively at heavyweight depends on his ability to handle Usyk's size, sample less than weighted punches, stay in range long enough to land counters, and manage brutal stamina demands. Experts argue those elements add up to an unmatched challenge, something that lives in fantasy matchups, not reality. Mayweather's legacy remains impeccable, but in the ring with Usyk's world? That's where expertise gives way to speculation, and skill does not guarantee size. Imagining Floyd Mayweather stepping into the ring at 230 pounds opposite Oleksandr Usyk is like watching a legend cross over into an entirely new universe. From the start, the size and strength gap alone would feel unreal. Let's break down how those rounds might play out, based on both fighters' observable performances.
Well, Mayweather more than doubling Oscar De La Hoya in the power department, and here's a good example. That's a great shot.
What a fight! How do you like it? How do you like it? Lining up the right hand now. There it goes. It caught him, but it didn't quite catch him. You see what's happening? He can't reach him when his legs are far apart.
He's tired, too.
That's a Mayweather round.
Rounds 1 through 3, Mayweather enters with his trademark defense, shoulder roll, precise counters, and tight foot placement out of range. Suppose he avoids Usyk's jab early, relying on rhythm and timing. But even at 90% power, Usyk's jab snaps sharper, and emptier punches carry more gravitational weight, something Mayweather likely wouldn't feel until after he lands clean counters.
From Usyk, and you can see Tony Bellew wearing down, still looking for that right hand, still gallant and still brave. He's really closing this gap with real,
Rounds 4 to 6, Mayweather may slow slightly as Usyk settles into his rhythm, tying up the inside, mixing body shots and headshots, forcing Mayweather to constantly reset his stance. Conversely, Usyk's mobility remains high. He's adapting mid-fight, stepping outside Mayweather's lead, circling just outside his rhythm, and using his southpaw angles to cut off the ring.
Again, we wish him alcoholism, we wish him what should be here. You know when you're sick, there's definitely feeling right. He knows that better than the other jab. 30 seconds to go in the greatest sporting event.
Rounds 7 to 9, conditioning becomes pivotal. Usyk has shown elite stamina deep into championship rounds. Against Fury, he stayed active, landing mid-round flurries, while Fury visibly slowed. Mayweather, having fought shorter weight class bouts, has never been tested this long with real power behind punches. Sustained pressure from Usyk could disrupt his pace, with Mayweather forced to neutralize pressure with movement, not activity.
Роскошная контратака Александра Усика. Долго он ждал ее, и град ударов сейчас обрушивает на соперника. Не спорим, мы согласны.
Rounds 10 to 12. If Mayweather remains crisp, he wins late if precise, but Usyk's continued pressure, bodywork, and strategic pace control would likely dominate. Usyk has shown he gets stronger over rounds. Mayweather, a defensive genius accustomed to shorter bursts, would face a constantly shifting target in a body that never tires. The outcome? Mayweather's experience could help him avoid being knocked out, relying on signature counters, but Usyk's size, stamina, southpaw movement, and pressure would tilt a 12-round professional contest heavily in his favor. Experts like Tony Bellew and Lennox Lewis highlight that only heavies of Fury or Joshua's caliber ever came close. Fighters Mayweather has never faced at anything near that weight. So in most reasonable outcomes, Usyk wins a strategic unanimous decision, or under pressure, forces Mayweather into mistakes leading to late-round dominance. Explosive punchers at heavyweight wouldn't dismiss Mayweather's speed, but the weight advantage, combined with Usyk's stamina and ring IQ, creates a gap that expert analysis suggests Mayweather likely couldn't bridge.
Of 24 world title bouts, he is undefeated in his 18-year campaign with a record of 47 wins, no losses, 26 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the pound-for-pound great and the pay-per-view king, boxing's future Hall of Famer, the sensational 11-time world champion in 5 weight divisions. Please welcome the reigning, the defending, and the undefeated WBC and WBA welterweight and super welterweight champion of the world, introducing Floyd Mayweather.
At its core, this entire conversation isn't about a real matchup, it's about legacy. Floyd Mayweather will always be remembered as the undisputed king of defense, a fighter who mastered the science of boxing and left the sport undefeated across 5 weight divisions.
Кожен козак знає, степом вільний вітер.
Oleksandr Usyk, meanwhile, has emerged as the heavyweight era's most complete technician, a southpaw puzzle who outboxes giants and outthinks brawlers. So when Mayweather says he could have beaten Usyk if they were the same size, it's not a challenge. Oleksandr Usyk, meanwhile, has emerged as the heavyweight era's most complete technician, a southpaw puzzle who outboxes giants and outthinks brawlers. So when Mayweather says he could have beaten Usyk if they were the same size, it's not a challenge. It's a statement of belief in skill above all else. And honestly, that's always been Floyd's thing. He's never relied on brute force. His power came from precision. His knockouts were mental, not physical. He beat guys before they even stepped into the ring. But Usyk is different. His skill set isn't just elite for a heavyweight, it's elite, period. The footwork, the feints, the pressure, the conditioning, the chin. He's a generational talent who doesn't just survive the heavyweight division, he runs it. And in that weight class, skills alone don't cut it. You need size, you need strength. You need the lungs to dance with monsters for 12 rounds. Would Mayweather have found a way to win in a hypothetical world where physics didn't matter? Maybe. But in reality, Usyk is doing something Floyd never tried, dominating at the top of boxing's most dangerous division. That fact alone deserves respect. The debate will rage on because fantasy fights are what fans live for. But until that bell rings in some alternate universe, one thing's clear. Both fighters sit atop their eras, and both have made it clear that boxing greatness comes in more than one form. Let us know in the comments who you think would win and why. Like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you don't miss the next great matchup, real or imagined.